welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I am your host, Christine Innes. I am so delighted to have the very beautiful Annie Noon joining me. Thank you, lovely, for being here today.
My pleasure. Lovely to see you, Christine.
Oh, you are just a gem, I must admit. Like, honestly, you have been involved in our business for a couple of years now. I keep forgetting how long we've, sort of known each other and
Yeah,
interacted, and just taken our birthday photos for the Corporate Escapers magazine 4th birthday, so which was just amazing. So thank you again for that.
that was a
Um,
lovely event.
it was beautiful. So, but I want to hand it over to you. I'm going to get you to introduce yourself, and then
Mhm.
we're going to just have a really beautiful conversation, because I think there's so many people that get afraid about having their photos taken. So we're going to dive into that.
Okay, lovely. All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Annie Noon. I'm the owner proprietor of Photo Force. Photo Force, annoyingly, I spell with an F, so it's FOTO Force. Um, One of my catchphrases is "May the Force be with you," of course, which I stole, but people always get a little chuckle out of it. Um, so my studio is at Burleigh Head. So I work from home. I have a beautiful studio which has got a, a bevy of fantastic backdrops to choose from. It's got gorgeous, soft, lovely lighting, and the glass doors open out onto my garden, which is extensive. I've got about 3/4 of an acre here, which is sort of lush tropical gardens, and then it drops down actually into a rainforest. So it lends itself to being able to do um, your studio look. I can set up a sort of uh, pretend office look in the studio, which works really well. But then, we just stroll outside and suddenly we're in a whole different environment, and that gives you a great range of shots to choose from. And it's just a bit of a special place. When people arrive here, they just go, wow. And I think they instantly feel relaxed. I think there are a lot of studios out there that maybe might frighten some people because they might be a little bit too big or too daunting or too clinical. Whereas this space just has such a homely feel, and just with that feeling of the gardens and the bush almost coming into the studio because the glass just looks out on it all. It is very relaxing. And of course, you hear the birds, we get the kookaburras dropping by for a feed, all the parrots and things. So it just has a country feel about it, and yet I'm in Burleigh Heads, and literally it's a 5-minute drive to the beach. So it's kind of the best of all worlds, really. And so I'm so lucky to have found this spot. We bought the land and then we built the house and the studio on it. Um, it's in a little quiet cul-de-sac street, which again is a lovely little street. There's only 8 houses. We get together
Mm,
and have little street parties regularly and have long
amazing.
puts
Oh,
tables in the road and things. So it just
yeah.
has so many lovely things going for it. Photographically, I've been involved in my business now for well over 30 years. Um, I'm so lucky because I did photography straight from school. Um, there's never been anything else for me.
Mm,
And I have worked around the world with it. So I spent 3 years based in London, where I actually worked for the big Sotheby's auction house because they had a huge photographic department there. So and that was lots of fun. We used to keep champagne on ice in the darkroom sinks. It was lovely. Um, but I was always also doing things like model portfolios for a lot of the big model agencies in London, and in Sydney. I did similar sort of work. I
mm.
was doing a lot of work for model agencies, portfolios, but also all the acting agencies. So I got to photograph a lot of really interesting people who've now gone on to be mega famous. Um, and I moved to the Gold Coast. Sorry, I'm rabbiting on here. Shall I
That's
just?
all right. It's all good. I love it. I think because so many
I moved to
people just,
the Gold
yeah,
I moved
keep
to the Gold
going.
Coast, having been a real set in earth Sydney girl because I love Sydney, but I moved to the Gold Coast because all my family were here. My mother was here, my father had passed
Mm,
away. She really wanted me here, and my brother was here with his 2 young daughters, and unfortunately, we'd also had lost his wife, had tragically died, and he really needed a helping hand with the girls as they got older. So that's kind of why I came to the coast. And I thought, well, I'll stay about a year and I'll put in some good bit of family time, and then I'll just head back to Sydney. But no, I've been here ever since.
I love
Um,
it.
so my work is mostly encompassed on the Gold Coast. So yes, I do work from the studio a lot, but I cover a lot of other things um, on the Gold Coast. But my patch, I say, is Byron Bay to Brisbane. I do a lot of work in northern New South Wales, and I
Yeah.
do go up to Brisbane for different things. I have become quite well known now as an event photographer, and I do love photographing events because I did one yesterday. Just such a beautiful event. It was at um, the Imperial, which is the old Versace,
Mm,
out on the Spit there. And it was for the Motor Neuron Disease Association of Queensland, who do just the most amazing work fundraising, because I don't know if you all know about motor neuron disease, but there's absolutely no cure from it. And there's also no government assistance for it either. So they're very dependent on these fundraisers that help people with equipment and the things that they're going to need to make their lives a little bit easier and to help the families. So it was a luncheon for them. I've done a few of them for them before, but this one had a fashion orientation about it. So a lot of fashionistas, a lot of amazing looking women dressed beautifully, a fantastic fashion parade, and so it was just a very fun, uplifting event, even though it was for such a serious cause, and they did raise a lot of money, which was awesome. But what I love doing, I suppose, is just capturing the history of that event.
yeah.
So that means the whole look of it, all the little nooks and crannies, the little details, everything that they've gone to so much trouble to organise, but also the vibe of it, the fun, the feel of it, the emotion of it, just capturing all of those things photographically. So that really encompasses a whole range of shots. And I work together with the event planner quite closely so that I know what's going to happen at what time,
Mm,
so that I'm in the right spot at the right time to capture that moment.
yeah.
Um, the moment when the lovely lady there, her key, she was in a long queue of ladies with the magic key to open this box, which had a beautiful diamond ring inside, and
Oh,
she won
wow.
it. So just capturing her
Oh, I love that.
thing.
I love
So,
it.
so I love photographing events, and I do
Yeah.
a lot of events up and down the coast. But I'm also known for all my people shots. So whether that's headshots or team images
Mm,
or a brand new startup business or a website revamp or a new product release, um, or whether it's a fashion shoot. I also do things like I do a lot of Airbnb properties,
yeah.
capturing the lifestyle and the vibe of that. I do restaurants and food menus, things like that. So it's very varied what I do, and I love how I never get bored. Every day
I love that.
different, and every day
Yeah.
exciting. And I'm usually working in
Yeah.
a really with a real positive mindset with people who are
Yeah.
wanting to get fantastic images that are going to promote them and their business or promote their event or capture
Mm,
their event historically for all time, whatever. Um, but it's such a joy to be a part of all of these things. And there is never any boredom for me. I just love what I do. And I've been fortunate to be able to say that I've loved what I've done for the last 30 years or so. Yeah.
I love that so much. How has photography changed though since when you first started to
Well,
now?
it's changed drastically. I mean, when I first started, of course, it was film in your camera, and then you'd process your film, and you didn't really know what you had
Yeah.
until you processed the film at the end. I had dark rooms everywhere I went, so I built a lot of dark rooms all over Sydney and in London, and even I spent a year on the Greek islands, and I built a dark room there as well. But I never ever thought I'd be without a darkroom because it's kind of where the magic happens.
Yeah.
I was also very involved with the Australian Centre for Photography, which is a centre in Sydney and Paddington. It's a beautiful gallery which has regular photographic shows, and I was lucky to exhibit there quite a few times. But they
Mm.
also did adult education classes on photography. So I was one of the teachers there for some years, where I was teaching travel photography, fashion photography, portrait photography, but also teaching people all about, how to use manually use cameras. I mean, forget this automatic button. Everything had to be
Mm.
manual, using light meters and things, and teach people darkroom technique. Now, when the digital age comes in, and there's probably not many people listening that remember when we were pre-digital,
I
but
know,
I
yeah.
remember.
I
But
know
when
that's what I
digital,
grew up in school was
yes,
the dark room. That's how I got taught.
yeah, exactly. And when
Exactly,
when
yeah.
the age came in, I was dragged into it kicking and screaming,
Yeah.
because I just thought, you know, but the darkroom, that was my sort of secret place. That was where I created the
Yeah.
magic, because I did a lot of composite printing, where I'd overlay prints on top of each other,
Mm.
multiple printing, for various exhibitions I had. Of course, that can all be done digitally now, but I was doing it manually, by creating masks and things in the darkroom. So, yeah, so obviously now the digital in some ways makes life easier, because
Mm.
you can instantly see what you've got, or whether you want to add a bit more lighting, or change your exposures, or change the background, or change the
Mm.
zone of focus, whatever. You can instantly see what you've got.
Yeah.
But it's also added so much time onto what we do, because of all of the darkroom time, which is now spent on the computer.
Yeah.
So the editing time that's spent on the computer, and of course, everybody now, most people want to look like a supermodel. So they want to know that all their blemishes will be gone. They want
Yeah.
if they've got some lines and wrinkles, can we soften those a little bit? And of course, we can do all of that work, just to whatever degree people are looking for.
Yeah.
But just downloading your images, sorting through them, um, picking all the favorites, cropping whatever needs cropping, um, setting all your color balances correctly. That takes hours, so it,
Yeah.
it it just adds a lot more time onto what we do. Of course, now I'm faced with AI. So this is a whole new spectrum to what I do,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
something I'm really just starting to learn about now, as to how it can help me if I want to use it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. And what's it like? Obviously, you work with such varied people. Is there one sort of common thread that you found between them?
Um, are we talking about people who are looking for
Like
lifestyle?
all the different like people that you like at the events, or the people who come into your studio. Is there sort of like a common thread or a theme that you sort
I
of
guess the common thread is, whatever I do, it's all about them. So
yeah,
that's what I've got to do, is just to find out what it is they're looking for. So
yeah,
whether that's through a real thorough consultation process beforehand. When I cover the events, I do have a little information sheet that I can send out to people, and it's the sort of thing. It's just handy hints for what photographers are looking for, the information that we need,
yeah,
our job a little bit easier.
yeah.
So, because some people don't even think about, oh, what does the photographer need out of this? But it's just
Mm,
lots of, and I do cover events where I think they just had their photo wall in the wrong spot. It was right near a doorway. There was always people walking in front of it.
yeah,
It had terrible light reflections on it, whatever, all of those sorts of things. So I suppose it's having all your ducks lined up in a row when you're
yeah,
doing it, so that you know it's going to run really smoothly. And if you do that in liaison with your photographer, with maybe your videographer, so that you know that we're all on the
mm,
same page and we're all looking for, a fantastic result. And when I'm photographing people, so whether that's in portraiture, in headshots, in team images, or for websites, or for press release, um, again, I just like to find out all about them, so that what
yeah,
I'm recording, what I'm giving them, is reflective of who they are as a person. And that's what I would strive to do, is to, not necessarily, obviously, must have a style. I have many styles that I use
Yeah.
with my photography. Those probably do come through, but at the same time, I'm wanting to strive to
Mm,
tick all of their end goals so that they get everything that they're looking for, plus a bit
yeah.
more. So that they so that they're happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Like obviously like if I mean I've had the pleasure of working with you not only for the events but also having like, your headshots and lifestyle photos
That
taken there as well.
and I have to apologize about that photo session, Christine, because as you
Oh,
know,
that's all
the
right.
power went out.
I
The power
know.
went out in the suburb right when we were about to start Christine's shoot.
Oh, it's all
But
good.
luckily, I have a set of lights that are all battery operated,
Yeah.
so we were still able to get everything that we needed. But of course,
Yeah,
I didn't have the aircon going, and I felt so bad about that
that's
because,
okay.
we made the most of it, didn't we? And
We
we
did, we
still did
did.
lots of garden photos and things.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what I love, like, obviously, I mean, having worked with you is just how adaptable you are. And I think a lot of people, like, we all get, like, things happen, and especially at events,
yeah,
things happen that you just can't control.
that's right.
Even at photo shoots, things happen you can't
Yeah.
control. So I guess one of the big things is like, I know you're saying that you've got a list for people when for events,
Mhm.
but what are some of the key tips for people who are coming and they're going, "Oh, I don't know whether or not I should have a photo shoot," or but also how to be prepared for a photo
Yeah.
shoot?
Well, again, I have my top 15 hints
Yeah.
for a great headshot shoot session. Um, there's I mean there's lots of good information in there. Um, I guess if we're working with women, a lot of the time it's would you like to have a hair and makeup artist?
Yeah.
And there's a few people I work with, but particularly I work with this lovely lady called Jacqueline Stevens, and I think she did your hair and
She
makeup
did,
on the day that you
yes.
came to see me. Um, Jacqueline's a godsend because she's really good at what she does. Um, and I think when you're having a photo shoot done, you kind of always want the best version of yourself to come across.
Mm,
And sometimes some of us are great at doing our own hair and makeup, but other people, you know what? I think I'm going to leave this to the professional because they're going
yeah.
to do something better.
Yeah.
Um, but she has a great ability to chat to people and whenever she's here in my studio, and of course she deals with the people before I do because she has to do the hair and makeup before I can start. But there is just always so much laughter in the room, and I really enjoy
Mm,
that. She helps get people in a fantastic,
that's it.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
good mood and relax them, which is wonderful for me. So she's a godsend to me.
Mm,
Um, but I think the environment of my studio does help relax people. Again, it's
yes.
just the look and the feel of the place is very relaxing. Um, so it doesn't have a clinical feel about it at all, and it's not
Yeah.
not like a big, vast, empty space where you feel really small. It's 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 just very relaxing.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll have some nice music playing. I'll set the aircon to whatever temperature you're going to feel comfortable with. Always have, drinks on standby, snacks if you need them, that sort of thing. Um, we've opened many bottles of champagne during photo shoots here, so that sort of thing goes on.
Love it.
But some of the things are basic. Often your hands are in your
Mm,
photo shoot, whether it's that you're leaning on a hand or your hands are on a desk or something like that.
yeah.
And sometimes people forget about their hands. So that's
Yes.
the thing I say is just make sure your hands are looking good, whether it's male or female, just to make sure that your, fingernails are groomed and they're looking presentable. Um,
Mm,
but and the other thing I find, uh, they're just silly things, but they do make a difference. So I do mostly photograph women. I do a few men, but probably 90% of the
mm,
people I photograph are women. Um, so I always say bring too many outfits rather than not enough. If I'm doing a 1 hour photo shoot with somebody, I mean I have lots of different shoots that I do, but a 1 hour is pretty standard. I can do three to four outfits in that time.
mm.
Um, I always say, don't fold up your clothes and put them in a suitcase, they're just going to get crushed and everything's going to show in the photos. So bring things on hangers. I have a steamer here though, so if something is looking crushed, or I can just
Yeah.
give it a quick steam. Um, Make sure your hair is nice and clean, so even if you're not having hair and makeup done, just make sure that your hair is clean and looking shiny.
Yeah.
And if it is a hot day, some of us do get some shine. Now, a bit of natural shine can look great, but sometimes if I'm putting studio lighting on people, if there's shiny faces, it can reflect like a hot spot,
Yeah.
which doesn't look so good. It makes you kind of look like you're perspiring or something. So, but for that, I have matting powder that I use. So I'll spot that straight away and just use that matting powder to help
Yeah.
that. My training originally is in fashion photography, so I'm one of those people that will just spot if something's wrong. Like if the shoulder line's a bit off center,
Yeah.
or the collar's got crushed, or that there's a thread hanging off, under the armpit or something. Yes,
Mm.
we can correct some of those things, obviously, with Photoshop, but I'm just usually going to spot it straight away and correct it.
Yeah.
Um, Wearing the right underwear under clothes is good, because sometimes people will come and they're wearing a white shirt and they've only got a black bra with them or something, which just shows up through the shirt,
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Yes.
Having smooth finished
Yeah.
undies, so that
Yeah.
if you've got a bobbly, lacy bra, it's often
Mm.
going to show up through
Yeah.
your clothing. So just little silly hints like that's what I send
Yeah.
out to people.
I
And
love
not
it.
to worry if you've woken up and you've woken up with a blemish, like a little something on your
Yeah.
cheek, because we'll just Photoshop that out of the way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it. What's one of the biggest like joys that you get with doing photography?
Look, I think I wrote about this in a story I did for your lovely magazine, but I I had a regular client, and I just asked her if she'd do a quick little video testimonial for me, just in the studio. I'd photographed her so many times, and I said, would you be happy to do that? And she said, "Yeah, sure." And she said, I'll just think about what I want to say. And then she suddenly burst into tears. I'll always remember it. Um, and then she said to me, you know what? I was just thinking about what to say about you. And what I realized was that everything that's always been really important in my life, you've been there recording it photographically for me. So it's like you're my historian, So because I photographed
Mm.
her business launch, her new product range launch, all her headshots, her team photos. But then I did her engagement, and then I did her wedding, and then I did her pregnancy, and then I did her parents' golden anniversary, So just so many things, because images are important. Images do tell the story of our lives. And, when people are in a situation where, if, you know, God forbid, anybody's in a house fire, I mean, it used to be the first thing you'd save was all your photo albums. Now, of course, it's the hard drives, because
Yes.
a lot of us don't have photo albums anymore.
Yeah.
Although I do still create a photo book every year of, this was my year, just all my,
Yeah.
my personal things, my family things in that book, because I still think it's important to have a record of it.
Yeah.
Um, but images do tell the story of your life.
Mm.
They, like, it's like an image, sometimes songs,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a smell. All things can sometimes trigger a memory where you kind of remember the story of you, the story of what happened that summer, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so I think one of my joys is knowing that I create those memories for people that they're going to keep forever. And I just bump into people all the time. Oh, you photographed my wedding. It was 22 years ago or whatever. We still love
Yeah.
our photos and blah, 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 blah. But so many stories come back to me where I bump into people who I photographed, however many decades ago, who still have a story about those photos. They
Yeah.
still keep them. They're still treasured memories. So that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know how much I love working with you. I think you're absolutely amazing. We're going to pop all the details how people can
Thank
reach
you,
out to
Christine.
you and do that. But before we go, we've got a couple of quick questions that we want
Yeah.
to ask our guests. So you'll be familiar because we ask these also at our meetups as well. Is that what's one thing that you have a goal you've achieved in the last 30 days that you haven't celebrated?
Okay, well, there was an achievement that I actually helped celebrate this morning because I was at a networking event this
Oh,
morning and I was able to showcase your beautiful
I
magazine with
know.
my
That's
story in it.
amazing.
So
Amazing.
it's just your latest magazine. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm dropping in and out
That's
of
okay.
the
We're gonna, yeah, we can showcase all of that. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
I love
it's
that.
it's kind of special sometimes to be on the other side of the camera because normally
Yes.
it's not. I'm the one that's taking everybody's
Yes.
photo. I'm at an event.
Yeah.
I'm never in any of the photos because I'm taking them all. So
Yeah.
that was kind of special to be able to be in the photo. And a
Yeah.
friend gave me a a t-shirt which I've actually got on. You can't really see it in the screen there, but and it
Yeah.
says, "I'm the girl who takes all the snaps."
Oh, I love
And
that.
I
I
thought
love that.
that was cute. That was
I
cute. So
love
yeah.
it. Yeah. What's one big goal that you've got in the next 30 days and how can we support you to achieve it?
Mm. One big goal in the next 30 days. Well, look, I just did a beautiful photo shoot for a lovely lady who again, she's someone I've known for years. I've
Yeah.
photographed her several times, but it's fantastic. She keeps coming back to me. And I did what I call my lifestyle library photo shoot with her. And that's firstly a catch up over coffee where we just get our heads together and come up with as many brilliant ideas as we can for great images that are going to promote her. So that's a sort of a half-hour catch-up over coffee.
Yeah.
Then we schedule a 3-hour photo shoot. I ended up actually doing 4 hours for her. I just threw in the extra hour complimentary. Um, she gets all her outfits ready, gets
Yeah.
any props together that we've talked about. We go to whatever locations that we've talked about. And then she ended up with 100 fine finished images. So that
Wow.
gives her a complete library of image about herself that she'll use all year. And then maybe next year she'll do another one and we'll do different ideas. So I love doing those. So if anybody's looking for something like that where they would
Yeah.
love to get 100 wonderful images that are all about themselves, then please get in touch because I just enjoy doing them so much and get fantastic feedback from the people that I do them for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. We've got five very quick questions for you
Yep.
so people can get to know you more. So in the morning, are you a tea or coffee person?
I'm a tea person all day.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm coffee, but I totally understand the tea part. So
I'm English originally, what can I say?
yes,
So
I get
I
that.
drink a lot of tea.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Would you, when you've got some spare time, do you prefer to curl up and read a book or watch a movie?
I like both of those.
Yeah,
So it depends on my mood at the time, but I love curling up on the sofa with my husband to watch a good movie.
yeah,
Or we love watching all kinds of series that we kind of get into.
yeah,
But quiet time from just time on my own, then I like to read a book. Yeah.
yeah. And if you could travel to your most favorite destination, would you prefer to travel by boat or plane?
I've never been on a cruise. I have been on boats, but I
Yeah,
haven't been on an extended cruise. And I've often thought that would be something that would be quite nice to
yeah,
do because you only kind of unpack once, as long as they
yes,
went to lots of ports of
yeah,
call, so you could still explore lots of places.
yeah,
So I quite like the idea of a cruise.
yeah,
However, I am at the moment kind of secretly planning a trip to Italy, which was going to be this October, but it's now going to be next October. But it's actually with two girlfriends. So it's three of
amazing.
us. One of them is coming from England, and us other two are coming from the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
And the three of us are really good mates. We've all got husbands, and we just thought it would be so nice to just have some girl time. The three of
yeah.
us get on really well, and all sorts of places we want to explore in Italy.
I
So,
love
yeah.
it. I love it. And if you could have a dinner party and you could invite one special person, so that
Mm,
could be from the past or from the current present, who would it be?
wow. Well, the first person that springs to mind is Richard Branson. I've
Mm,
photographed him twice. So
wow.
once was at Coolangatta Airport, and I had him on the wing of a plane with all these hostesses.
Wow.
And the other time was at Bond Uni, and his PA was an ex-Bondy. And they were actually on the Gold Coast because there was a big Virgin Music Festival. It was
Yep.
quite a few years ago. That's what they were here for. But
Yep.
his PA, or it's not really his PA, his offsider, um, heard about there was a big event at Bond Uni on entrepreneurship, and it was in the main auditorium. And he just said, wouldn't it be amazing just to lob in on that and produce Richard Branson? And that's what they did. So I got the
Oh, that's
inside info
amazing.
on it. So I sort of photographed it for a couple of newspapers and things, but he just
That's
landed
so
by
cool.
helicopter. I mean, obviously the people,
Yeah.
in charge of Bond knew it was happening, but the
Yeah.
students didn't know. And
Wow.
he just lobbed in for a very
That's
entertaining
so
chat.
cool.
And he is such good company,
Yeah.
and so entertaining and just very giving man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how would you describe yourself in just one word?
Wow, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Um, Short, loving, caring,
Loving. I think loving is for you.
generous.
You're very loving and generous. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's four
Well,
words.
yeah, that's okay. Annie, thank you so much for being here. We are going to pop all the details below how people can reach out to you. And then they can obviously read you more about your story that's inside the current issue of the Corporate Escapist magazine. Thank you, Annie, for being here
Lovely.
today.
My pleasure. That was lovely. Thank you, Christine. I hope to see you soon.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you to all of you who have watched this episode. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, put your comments below, and remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.